This is the Where's My Flashlight podcast, episode 1. I'm Dale.
I'm Robin.
We're going to be talking about Natalie Wood and what really happened to Natalie Wood in the dark water.
So, for all those who don't know, who's Natalie Wood?
She was a famous movie actress who was known for West Side Story and Miracle on 34th Street.
And who is she married to?
Robert Wagner.
And who is Robert Wagner?
He was an actor who was in movies.
And stuff and things.
Yeah, mostly stuff. He was in the Austin Powers, number 2 in the Austin Powers movies. He's in a lot of TV and films in the 70s and 80s and 90s, stuff like that.
Yeah, he guest starred on NCIS's DiNozzo's Dad, and he was on 2.5 Men. I don't know what his role was on that.
And he appeared in some of the Pink Panther movies.
Yeah.
I think 2 of them. So Natalie was born in San Francisco. Her parents were Russian immigrants, and her mom wanted her to be a big star.
I don't think we're talking about him.
I don't think I'm talking about it before. Oh, got that video game playing behind us. Anyway, she did 18 films when she was a kid. And for her 5th birthday, she debuted in Happy Land. I think it was, 1943.
Yeah.
And she was terrified of water. She was afraid to go in swimming pools. She had trouble washing her hair.
She would have nightmares of drowning in water. When she was young, she went to a psychic who told her she'd be a very big star someday and to be wary of dark water. Her mom was very superstitious, so she would always remind her of the psychic's warnings.
And when she was 10, during a raging thunderstorm on the set of The Green Promise, there was a bridge that was ready to collapse when someone was on it. And,
her mother convinced her to go on the bridge that everything would be fine.
Yeah.
And the technician accidentally bumped the switch.
And then she fell and broke her arm, wrist.
Yeah.
And, they didn't take her because her mom decided she just wanted it to heal. And it left a permanent scar. She met Robert when she was 10 and he was 18.
They were working for the same studio.
Yeah.
She had a crush on him, and when she turned 18, they started dating. But that's because Fox Studios set it up as a publicity stunt.
Yes, publicity stunt.
I have a hard time saying that word.
But, they fell in love over a candlelight dinner.
On his boat.
On his boat. And a tumultuous relationship they had. They were married in 1957 and divorced 5 years later. Decided to, they split up.
Yeah.
Sorry, okay. They remarried other people, and she ended up with Richard Gregson. Married him in 1969.
And they had a daughter named Natasha.
Yes.
Eventually, Natalie and Robert found their way back to each other. She left Richard for Robert, divorced Richard in 1972, and then married Robert.
They had a daughter named Courtney.
Yeah, Robert and Natalie had a daughter together named Courtney. Even though Natalie was fearful of water, they married on a yacht off Catalina Island. Natalie sent Robert a note on their wedding day that read, "Dearest, here's to smooth sailing for us from now on."
The day that Natalie was drowned, it was during Thanksgiving weekend of 1981. They had a boat. They bought a boat named Splendor, and it was named after one of the movies. And at the time, she was working on a movie called Brian Storm with star, Christopher Walken.
And who's Christopher Walken?
He always plays creepy bad guys.
Maximilian Schreck on
Batman Returns.
Yeah.
He's in The Rundown. Prophecy. He was really scary in The Prophecy. Anyway, Robert was doing his own thing, called Heart to Heart. It was a TV show way back in the 70s.
Yeah.
And his character, I think they were married. And they drove around in convertibles, like solve crimes or some crap.
Yeah.
I was really little when this was on, but I watched it a lot. Not to ramble on. Anyway, jealousy always played a role in the relationship, and Robert thought Natalie was going to leave him for someone else, and yeah.
Yeah, and he got so jealous that he went to the movie set that Natalie and Christopher were on just to make sure nothing was going on.
Yes. And the whole time on the boat,
so they all decided, 3 of them decided to take a trip together.
Oh yes.
On that Thanksgiving weekend. And the whole time on the boat, Natalie and Walken were having a good time together. And reportedly, Robert was sulking and angry.
Yep. Bobby had a tantrum. And that night they docked at Avalon, and they went to shore and drank for hours. Later at night, they came back to the boat, and
Natalie and Robert started fighting.
they had no idea where Christopher Walken went.
Yeah.
And they were fighting.
And usually, supposedly, Robert would always start fights with Natalie. But this time it was her because she didn't want them to move the boat because of the storm.
Yeah.
And there was witnesses on other boats to their fight.
And then besides, 3 of them on the boat, there was the captain. And so it was late, it was dark, and a storm, and Natalie was terrified of water. She wanted to keep the boat where it was.
And so she's probably remembering, about the warnings of dark water. So the idea of traveling the storm was probably not something she wanted to do. So she was upset and she wanted to get off the boat and back to shore. So she asked the captain if he would take her back, or take her to a hotel. So he takes her to a hotel, and they have separate rooms, and they stay up all night drinking, talking about Robert. And she wants to get a plane and get out of there, but it's too late. So they decide to stay at the hotel.
And next morning, she was in a better mood and told the captain she wanted to go back to kind of smooth things over with Robert and make everyone breakfast. Hope there weren't more issues. So they went back, and later that day she ended up in a bar with Walken, and
Robert and the captain showed up, and Robert was pissed.
of course.
And according to witnesses, Natalie and Walken were having fun without Robert and just ignoring him. And when they left, they were all drunk. And the bar owner called the harbor master to tell him that everybody was drunk and they were getting on a boat.
Sounds like a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry. Oh, so I got back in the boat and went to the lounge area called the salon room, and Natalie made a pot of tea, and everything seemed to calm down.
And according to the captain, he came forward years later and he said, this is what happened. He said that Robert Random, they got so angry that he picked up a wine bottle and smacked it on the coffee table right in front of Natalie and Walken. After that, Robert asked Walken if he was trying to bleep his wife. Walken got up and walked to the stateroom. Natalie became upset and left the room. Robert followed her. The captain said that he heard Natalie and Robert fighting. The captain said that the fighting was so loud it sounded like somebody was being assaulted. And then he said that the fighting, he said that he went down to the room and knocked on the door, and Robert answered the door and told him to go away.
Yeah, right on. Sorry. Anyway, the captain said the argument went on to the F deck, but suddenly the fighting stopped. So he went to the deck to see if everything was alright. And Robert was just standing, his back to the railing, said now he was missing. Asked the captain to search the boat.
So witnesses from other boats heard them fighting, and all the witnesses gave the same story. They said around midnight, the witnesses heard a woman scream. They thought maybe it was a party on another boat. One of them heard, "Help me, please help me," in a woman's voice coming from near the stern of the Splendor, possibly in a dinghy.
And they heard a man yelling drunkenly in a mocking tone, "Okay, honey, we'll get you." The captain looked in Natalie's room and everywhere else, and he couldn't find her. And he told Robert, and Robert said the dinghy was gone. Said he was sure she just went to town, and she said maybe she went to a bar or something, and not to freak out. The captain said he knew Natalie was afraid of water and wouldn't take the boat by herself, the lifeboat. He told Robert they should hit the searchlights, and
they should call and report that they have a passenger missing.
Yeah.
But Robert told the captain no and opened a bottle of alcohol. Then he and the captain made him sit down with him, and they drank for over an hour. And after that, the captain pointed out that Natalie wasn't back yet, and he hadn't heard from her, and that they have to make the call. So Robert reluctantly agreed.
And he knew she was missing at midnight, but didn't call until 1:30 in the morning.
I know your spouse or your lover or whatever is missing, and I'm just going to sit down and take a drink, and, even though she's afraid of water. And,
yeah, she could be more worried.
And then, she couldn't swim. Natalie couldn't swim.
So the next day they found Natalie's body. A lifeguard found her body, and the lifeboat was discovered a mile away. And she was wearing a heavy coat, nightgown, and wool socks.
Yeah, it was ruled as an accidental drowning.
In the end, it's believed that she wanted to get off the boat, and she was mad at Robert. He needed a break, and untied the lifeboat, got out of there.
Yeah, that was official story.
Yeah. But, she was terrified of water, and it was stormy and dark.
And all her life she was warned about dark water. So, they're saying that she goes and ties the boat by herself instead of asking the captain, who she asked the night before. When the medical examiner examined the body, they found fresh bruises that happened before she died. And the toxicology report said that she had several glasses of wine. And her family has mixed feelings about what happened.
Her daughter Natasha thinks Robert had nothing to do with it, and believes him when he says it was an accident. And she continued to live with him, and he treated her as his own.
It probably was an accident. He probably accidentally knocked her and she fell overboard, and he's like, "Oh well, nobody's going to believe me."
And Natalie's sister Lana believes Robert knows more than he's saying. And,
she says she knows things go bad, and she just wants to know the truth. So Robert's theory is, he thinks Natalie went to go tie the lifeboat close to Splendor, that the lifeboat, which is the dinghy, was banging against it, that the noise was making it hard for Natalie to sleep. Robert claims that Natalie went on to the swim step to the lifeboat, to tie the lifeboat and slipped on the moss and fell into the water and died. I don't know if the dinghy, the lifeboat thing, would make such a loud sound because it was an inflatable.
Yeah, it's not like it was made out of cast iron. 20.
And if she was that afraid of water and it was a storm and she's, standing that close to the water, leaning into it, that doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
Natalie's sister says there's no way Natalie would have gotten in the boat by herself late at night in a storm.
Yeah. Anyway, Natalie was buried on Wednesday, December 3rd of 1981. Frank Sinatra, a lot of other celebrities were there.
Robert bent down and kissed the casket farewell.
Captain came forward in 2011 with his version.
The case was reopened.
And then the coroner.
In 2011, the coroner said that Natalie looked like a victim of assault. They changed the cause of death to drowning and other undetermined factors. Dogs are really annoying me, by the way.
Sorry, try to get it. Anyway, likely evidence of Natalie having been brutally beaten wasn't on the original autopsy report conducted by coroner Thomas Noguchi, and he admits it was wrong based on theory, not facts.
Yeah, supposedly Natalie's brain and skull were never examined in the original autopsy. Allegedly, there are photographs before and during the inquest that show Natalie was beaten and her head bashed in. LA County Sheriff Department Detective Ralph Hernandez revealed, "We have a lot that tends to point to a very suspicious death and would certainly indicate the possibility of foul play."
Natalie's sister Lana claims key evidence, like fingernail clippings, might have carried DNA of the killer, and it was deliberately removed from police archives. Police, they won't arrest Robert Wagner until they have an airtight case.
That's what Lana thinks, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can't, double jeopardy, you can't retry somebody, so I would imagine, that they don't want to do anything until they're sure, until they have enough evidence to back them up.
He's around 80 now, so who knows. Yeah, it's picking up the noise of the video game. Thanks. I have to edit that out. So in February of 2018, some new witnesses came forward. New details of...
Now the details of Robert's story don't add up.
No, yeah, I'm sorry.
Robert is refusing to cooperate. No one heard Natalie splash in the water, and no one heard the lifeboat start up. And Christopher Walken has been extremely silent about all of this. He had, commented once in all the years, but I think he said that he had no comment or something. I think that was it.
Oh.
So what do you think happened now?
Well, I don't know, maybe she could have accidentally fallen in, or...
I think they were fighting, and he either hit her, she smacked her head and fell overboard, or, something to the effect of her falling overboard by accident, and he thought that people wouldn't believe him or something. So he pretended that she drowned by herself.
Yeah.
Why do you think Christopher Walken has been silent or something?
Maybe he didn't see anything. I don't know.
I know, but to not have an opinion either way.
Yeah.
Kind of weird. Not to even say that he had never even said that he didn't see anything either. It just hasn't said anything.
Yeah.
So, Hollywood insiders, experts, and law enforcement claim that former President and actor Ronald Reagan helped cover up Robert Wagner's involvement in Natalie's death. They were guests on a podcast called Fatal Voyage. What?
Huh? Well, sounds like Robert Wagner.
Wagner's involvement in Natalie's death. They were all guests on a podcast called Fatal Voyage, The Mysterious Death of Natalie Wood. It's a 12-part audio documentary that sheds new light on her case.
The documentary author Kathy McKenna stated they were old friends. They'd been in a studio system together. I very much doubt Ronald Reagan thought that he had killed Natalie. He just thought he was grieving and wanted to protect him.
So one of the many things done wrong with Natalie's case was the coroner's failure to scrape Natalie's fingernails for tissues that could have yielded evidence in a struggle.
Retired trial lawyer Sam Perroni
Yeah.
came forward with the contents of a
Secret addendum to the autopsy report that the medical examiner commissioned from colleague Paul Miller, but whose sensational findings were never made public. Marilyn Wayne came forward saying she received a warning in the days after Natalie's demise to zip it, or there would be consequences. Marilyn said she had suspicions that the warning came from a powerful Hollywood star, and Marilyn, only being 19 at the time, this scared her into being quiet.
Natalie's body was set to be exhumed before the end of last year. The investigators looking for evidence. Natalie's death was a homicide rather than accidental drowning.
But no word yet on if they did it or what they found or anything yet.
Yeah. That's a good thing you pronounced that word. I would have destroyed addendum, but I can't.
I have trouble with simple words. Shower, I have to say really slow. And battery, I have to say slow, or it comes out shower and battery.
Yes.
But I can say complicated words for some reason. Addendum.
Well, what do you think? Okay.
I guess so.
That's the whole thing. So, if anything else comes to the surface, I'm sorry, that was a bad choice of words. If anything, we hear any more information, we'll bring it to you in some way or another. But I guess that's it for now.
Peace out, bitches. No.
Yes. Toodaloo. Bon voyage. Happy sailing. Sorry.
Bump.